Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Andor Season 2 reviews. This week, episode 4 to 6. I'm the fashion designer, Tress, now, and I'm joined by...
I'm lights out, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the 1 hour Taylor Field.
Hell
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah!
Like, we'll get the spoilers, but Taylor, you gotta admit you were so wrong about that relationship. That was, like, when the predictions, you were so far off about what's happening now.
I never
but,
saw it
We'll
coming.
get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But obviously, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go back because we did break 1 to 3. So maybe because I feel like this show in particular, everybody knows watching at a different speed because the 3-episode drop. Like, usually even like the Eastern, like GUA people, even if like Daredevil's dropping, it's like, okay, it's at 9, 1 episode, finish it, done. But now it's like, oh, I've watched 1, I've watched 1.5, watched 2. So obviously, maybe you're still wondering. I don't know why you would have clicked on this. Maybe you're confused. Who knows? But go back and check out that episode. Big thank you because we'll probably talk about it on the next newscast, but the last few weeks, the episodes we've been pumping have just been jumping to the top 10. So big thank you to everyone who listened to Andor, the episodes 1 to 3 review, because that went to number 8 without even being out for a week, which is pretty good. So we appreciate everyone that listened on. Hopefully you're staying on for the next 3 weeks because we'll be breaking it all down like the past episode, the past seasons, all that good stuff. So Mr. Patzer, start us off with as usual, non-spoiler thoughts. We'll take a break, a little ad break for people if they've not seen all the episodes, and then we'll get into spoilers, so you'll have a nice warning. But Kirkland, what do you think of 4 to 6?
4 to 6. Yeah, no, I think it's still among the best Star Wars content I've ever seen in my life. Just storytelling, like the writing is so good and gripping and enticing. I think there's just so much. I feel like something that really hit me this week versus last week, and it's something that they've kind of had throughout the whole show, but I'm really feeling it now. Probably just focusing on certain characters and kind of the situation that they're in. I just feel like they do such a good job at showing the claustrophobia of like what the Empire is on like everyone. Like there's just like seeing certain characters and they just feel so trapped, even though it's not like if they are seen like they're going to prison. It's just like the whole everything being like we're entering this empire, like it's the emperor running the show now. Like it's we're still kind of in a transition period, but like not really. I don't know. It just seems like from the rebellion standpoint, it's just like they're just being strangled, and it's like you're trying to find oxygen. And,
we're like in the final stages of full dictatorship. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right on the
100%,
precipice of everything's gone. When the town's like, oh, something bad's happening here. Oh, how do we stop it? Well, everyone knows it's bad, and we can't really stop it. It's like, oh, so we're at that point where you're just kind of you're not fucked, but you're about to be fucked.
Yeah,
the
the
lube is out.
The avalanche happened. You're like buried beneath the snow, but you can still kind of see light. But it's like every little
Mickey
movement.
17.
It's just like it's just closing a little bit. Yeah, exactly. And I think they do such a good job at just giving that feel throughout the whole. It doesn't matter which character I'm following. I feel like that is just the overall vibe of the galaxy right now. Like especially people that are pushing for the rebellion. Like I think they're doing a really good job of just hammering home on that. And just give them credit because it's just so good. I feel like this batch of episodes I'm a little bit less high on than I was last week, and that's just because, minor spoiler, we have a lot more Mon stuff last week, and I was just loving that. So again, minor spoilers, more of a back seat I think in this 3 for collection of episodes here, but everything else I think is really, really solid. There's a couple things I don't want to say I have problems with. It just seems like a little bit messy the way they went about it, but maybe I just completely misinterpreted what they were going for. So, when we discuss it, maybe that'll clear it over. But I think for the most part, it's still really good. They have really good just stakes at play with, again, doesn't matter which character we're following. It seems like just everyone is like do or die on their missions. Like it doesn't matter if someone's got I don't know. Yeah, no, I won't say anything. That's a spoiler. So, but yeah, thumbs up. Still recommend it. It's still fantastic. 2 more weeks. Is that it?
Yep.
It's too soon. I know that's 6 episodes of content, but still, it's
I guess it is. Yeah,
We just did 6 weeks.
we did. Yeah, we're halfway through the season. We would have been.
We'll
saying
chop
right
up every
now.
episode, release it individually. For an episodic release. It was interesting though. I was just talking with a couple people, my day to day. Met with the good old Patreon Tyler, and we were talking about Andor, and I was asking just people I've come across on if they're watching it. no one really even knew that this came out. And Tyler was bringing up the point that like he feels like it was like a marketing thing. Like he really didn't even know it was out. And I'm like, I knew it was coming out, and I still feel like it was kind of a lack of whatever, just getting it out there. The 3-episode release, I think it's a good idea for this show, just because they can be pretty dry and just going week to week. I mean, I'm someone that loves the content, but just looking at it as like a general viewer, I feel like they might really taper off on it. So I do understand why they did the 3-episode release for that reason. But yeah, just even just Star Wars fans that I know, maybe I work with, like they just really had no idea this this was even out, and I'm just praising the gospel to it. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess we interact with people that watch the show, so it's kind of hard to judge with that. But am I wrong though? Is just like the marketing was like just non-existent for the show? Like
I feel like that's like a good bread and butter in the future, because I feel like marketing is just so tough nowadays, because it's something like we talk about all the time with algorithms, or there's your feeds dedicated to you. When I go on YouTube and they're like, I remember when I was on the podcast, but I feel like every week on YouTube, it's like Skeleton Crew live now. It's like, well, I'm already watching that. Like, you're paying, like, whatever this is why I don't think some of this stuff works. Like, the algorithm, whoever you're paying, that's not working. I'm already watching Skeleton Crew. Like, this, I feel like most of the ads I get is for, I won't say most, but I'll say like 60% of the stuff is, I'm already subscribed to this. I'm already watching this. So I feel like it's like, oh, they search Andor, this and that, make sure they're watching Andor, but it's, I guess that could be something, right? Where someone, my mom, which she wouldn't, right? But like she searches Andor and like, oh, hey. And then now they're like, they got to hit her over the head. Like, make sure you should watch. But I just don't think my mom would search Andor. They would just talk to one of us and be like, okay, cool. And then move on. And I really don't know with the 1 to 3, like the 3 episodes, if that helps or hurt it, because I think it would stop from tapering off. But do people look at that? And I know it sounds weird, but then they go, oh, 3, where like, if it's right before bed, it's like, oh, well, there's 1 episode, I'll watch that. And it's that thing of like, oh, you won't watch a movie, but people watch 3 episodes of a show. But I wonder if that's because it's not a conscious thing of like, oh, I'm just watching a season, I could stop any time, where the 3 episodes might feel like, I gotta get through this. But I don't know. And I don't know how much they paid for it, because I know they want it out there. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know what the numbers are. I feel like the numbers would be pretty similar to season
1.
yeah, season 1. Like, I think you might get a few more because there was Prestige and it was nominated for Emmys. So I think there might be a few people that go, oh, I might check that out. But it's also probably just so much shit nowadays, you know, like
True.
video games and TV shows. It's just like, I don't know. And I think Star Wars hype is like at an all-time low. So even people that are excited for Star Wars and maybe Andor, it's like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. Or again, it's still a character. We know, like, these episodes are great, don't get me wrong, but we still know his story. Like, you just like plug in Rogue One, you know, this guy's dying on a beach like trying to fuck Jin, you know, like that's what's happening. That was her name, right? Jin has been
Jin
so long?
Erso.
Yeah, I'm
Erso.
gonna maybe rewatch after this, but
I want to watch it. Watching this episode, like these 2 episodes, I'm like, damn, I'm definitely gonna finish off. I think like once we round off this season, I'm gonna plug on Rogue One for sure.
yeah, I think I'm the same. And I'll go because I think my thoughts are pretty identical to Kirkland's. I don't know where his lower points are. I have some lower points. It's definitely, I'd say, more related to episode 3. Just some stuff that felt kind of predictable, and I won't say it got to cheesy, but it was some of the more weaker Andor stuff I've seen before. Nothing that's like, this is a big mark, but it's almost something that would make me question of like, okay, I gotta see the next few arcs, but I'm like, oh, I don't like, as of right now, it was like, oh, this is a perfect 10, where it's like, this storyline's just a little lacking. And I feel like the show's usually great at really like layering things and making me feel justified. And oh, these characters are acting this way because X, Y, and Z. There was just an event that happened that I was like, this feels very melodramatic for the sake of being melodramatic, and I don't think they set it up in the right way. But other than that, yeah, great stuff going on. Yeah, there's a little less Mon, so that was disappointing, but great stuff going on with Deidre and Cyril. I'm really much digging that. And Diego Luna was tons of fun this episode, because there's one episode in particular where he's undercover, but he gets to have, I think, a bit more of a flashy, like, good time, which doesn't really happen with Andor. I guess we got that a little bit last week too, so maybe this season they're trying to give him a bit more levity, but this was just a different type to the point where it's like, oh, I love, like, he should be a Bond villain or something like that. You know, that's what I want. Like him and Stellan Skarsgård, him as his like Luthen with the wig, like
Fuck yeah.
that's like one movie gets Stellan, next movie get Diego. So no, I think it was still great, but I definitely still prefer last week's 1 to 3. I think this was weaker for not just because the lack of Bond, just like a few other things, but I think it did a great job of, it's one of my favorite, you know, tropes in Hollywood writing. And that's why The Dark Knight's my favorite movie. Is there's Batman, Joe Gordon, and Dent, and all of them have the same goal, but it's all about like how far are you willing to get that goal? What are you willing to compromise? And not a big spoiler, he's on the thumbnail. Saw Gerrera's back, so I feel like between Andor, Saw, and Luthen, you're really seeing three sides. You know, it doesn't make sense. There's no three-side coin, but three sides of a different story of how far men are willing to go and what they're willing to sacrifice and what is the line and what they're willing to cross. And someone like Saw, that's almost like an outright, I'll say in quotations, monster, where Luthen is like, oh yeah, like I'm trying to not be like that, but he's just being, you know, yeah, I'll stop because we're getting spoilers, but that's what I'm enjoying, is that dynamic of, you know, there's just certain things you're going to have to choose when you're getting into this level of the mud. There's no more, oh, well, I want to do this and this. It's like, no, if you want, you're either fully in or you're fully out. Because, like you said, Kirkland, we're at the point where, okay, we're about to get into the real shit. You can't be halfway out. And that's where there's one character that is, and, you know, there's a conversation about that. And it's just, so that's what I'm enjoying. Even though, like I said, I think 1 to 3 was stronger. So what about you, Taylorfield?
Oh, you know, this arc, it gave me the vibes of like German occupied France. Just when we're looking at a certain thing with,
You were
it's not a
there, right?
spoiler. Yeah, I was there. Feeling a lot of PTSD.
Your past life.
But
Get the croissants!
there was, again, not well, I don't even know if I can say that if that's a spoiler. There was
They're
a
in Paris.
language
They're in
used.
space Paris.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like
There was-
French. It's not French, but yes, Taylor, you're 100% right.
Okay.
It's like French but changed a little bit.
I swear they were talking German at one point because it sounded like I was like, no, okay, it's a different language. But yeah, no,
German occupied France. As if
German
they would have like
occupied,
changed
yes.
the language.
That's exactly it.
That's
That's exactly it. But I quite enjoyed the this arc. I don't know which one I would enjoy more between this one and last week's. I think this last week's definitely felt like it was just had a little more hype behind it, a little bit more fire under the cushion. But this one had a little bit more of a slow burn to it. I would have loved a little bit more Mon, but I really enjoyed how things kind of picked up. And there was like one small confrontation between two characters that I really enjoyed seeing. And yeah, all of the serial stuff was just fucking wild. But I like how it's not like shattered and broken off. I feel like in terms of skipping a year and picking up the story and kind of getting into this narrative again, it did a pretty okay job, and I'm happy with how cohesive it was, because I feel like it could have been very messy if it was not executed properly. But they did okay. I had a few expectations going into this episode, thinking, okay, well, between this one and Arc 3, I feel like this is how they're going to tackle some things. Unfortunately, one thing that I was looking forward to was in the time jump, which is very shitty, because I would have loved to have seen that visually in these 3 episodes. And that was one of the highlights for me going into this show, was thinking, hey, I'm going to get to see this. It's going to be awesome. But unfortunately, that's not the case, but I'll highlight that when we get into spoilers. But yeah, I think where we go from here, I really don't know, because at this point from the trailers, I feel like we've seen everything. There might be a couple things that are left that I'm overlooking, but usually when we get...
we're going to jump a year. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, you're spot on there. I like at this point, usually in a TV show, when you get to that point when we've seen everything so far that they show in the trailers, and that it's just at this point it's uncharted territory. That's when it gets really exciting for me. So who knows what we're gonna see next?
I don't remember the trailers that well, so I'll just have to take you by faith there that you're correct on that, because I have no idea. But
I don't know.
There's a lot of trailer shots. This arc had most of the shots from the trailers that I remember over the first arc.
Fair enough. Anything else from this episode, non-spoilers, we want to talk about?
don't recall really shouting it out last week, but I feel like the score in general really just stood out to me in this episode, or series of episodes. It has like the atmosphere of Star Wars music, but then like mostly just like the noir, like Cloak and Dagger, like occupied France music as
With some punk rock in there a little bit, right? That happened last week with,
Yeah,
I guess,
and
there's some club music, but there's always like a little more diddle 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 with Andor.
yeah, they're at like a house party, at some sequence, minor spoiler, and like the music was definitely going back to where it was with the Mon rave sequence, and I loved it. I was like cringing for a lyric to drop, but it didn't drop a lyric, so I think that's the best type of just air quote modern inclusion of like modern music inclusion in Star Wars. It's like just keep lyrics out of it, and it feels spacey in a sort of way, or to have like alien lyrics. I didn't really play Jedi Fallen Order, but I remember the opening very well, and it has like just some alien song going. Fuck yeah, get some more of that in these Star Wars shows. Get
Yeah.
the French language,
Absolutely.
the Gorman language in there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you've not seen these episodes, we're going to take our first ad break and then we'll be right back into spoilers. So we'll be right back. And we are back. So if you don't want to hear that ad break, as usual, head down to the links for everything you need to know is down below. That's where you go to Patreon, especially this week. Go there because we got a couple more days for our 1994 Golden Geek submissions. So we're wanting you guys and gals to put in whatever films you want us to review. Not saying we're going to review them all, but we're going to have a meeting and say, okay, what agree is the best one, and that'll be fun because our 10 years coming in August, so that's coming right around the corner. But you could have got this episode and all the other ones ad free. You can get exclusive episodes. You can get early episodes. Later on this week, there should be either it's Mission Impossible or Superman or Supergirl. Some retro is dropping, so look out for that. This is more distracting than the sex sounds for some reason. Turn it down a bit. I can't even hear myself. Thank you. You don't got to turn it off, but there. 1 hour. 1 hour. But yeah, and we got lots of good stuff. Kirkland and Dylan will be doing Weekly Geek later on this week, and then you got Thunderbolts. And a big shout out to our Patreon producers: Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam Superbad, Mike, God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, and Charlie Randall. Sorry, your names had to be over that. And if you can't subscribe to Patreon, just go down below and support us one way or another. Join the Discord, subscribe on or podcasts and YouTube. And have a good time there, like this person's doing in the show here. So.
1 hour.
1 hour. Nah, Deirdre's a person, like, she just lays there and then she's like, I'm done. Like that's
Oh,
what
that
it
was
is.
Cyril.
Oh no,
making those
no, that
noises.
was Cyril.
Yeah.
She's packing the heat for
Yeah, you're
that.
right. Yeah, Cyril's just doing that. So let's start with those two because very
yeah.
interesting dynamic, interesting journey for Cyril where he's doing his semi-related ISB. He's not with the ISB, but he's with the Empire. He's on Gorman. But we kind of have these, like I say, in each episode, we get something where episode 4, he's approached to, he doesn't know this, but to be like a rat, a traitor, but he thinks he's helping up the Empire. I'm just saying from the point of view, I know it's going to be revealed for something else, but from the show, it's like, okay, there's people that want to get in and get some information about the Empire. So what if they tell Cyril, like, hey, the ISB, they're going a little rogue to help the Empire. You should help us with this information. So you're like, oh shit, like he's going to be an accidental rat. Episode 5 rolls around. No, he saw right through that. He's not going to be an accidental rat. He's going to rat them out and be a double agent, which exactly we'll get to. Andor's like, you sure you're going to trust this? Like most of the time we've had these, I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much like most of the time we've had like these Empire leaks. They don't really work out and, digress. It's not going to work out. And then episode 6, obviously he was on a little bridge doing all the radio stuff, calling it out. But we also got revealed that I can't remember the guy that works with Deirdre. He's like the best like Empire guy with the long hair, the other older British chap. But
Oh yeah.
he just walks up to her and just says, you can't let him really know what's going on here. So again, it's a situation of, and when he even gave the information, like, oh, very well done, Cyril. He's like, and then when he walked out, he's like, this might be the greatest day of my life. Like Cyril's completely bought into the Empire. He had a chance to maybe do some good. Not that he cares that much, right? But he had a chance to turncoat. He didn't take it. But then now, do you think the Empire is going to build him up and really welcome him in? No, they're just using him as bait. Even Deirdre, who last week we talked about, where, man, they seem a lot closer than we thought they were going to be, still seems she could be bullshitting to the older gentleman. But for me, it didn't feel like that. And it felt like she's still, hey, if it comes down to Cyril, the mission, she's still going to choose the mission over him. Maybe that will evolve. But yeah, tons of interesting stuff going on with them as far as I wasn't sure. I was like, oh man, is Cyril really going to be like a accidental rat here for a bit? But no,
Yeah.
he saw right through that. So I loved everything with these two. And yes, the 1 hour, they had some time just to have some sex. But even then, he was mad that they had him followed. So like I said again, Taya, you when we talked in predictions, he's going to be a couple. Like, no, that's not something that's going to happen here. Last week they're having meetings with parents. Now they're fucking with lights out and everything like that. But she's lying to him, so that might catch up to her eventually. So,
Well, I'm wondering. Obviously, she's just using him. I can't imagine that this is an ongoing, like, committed relationship at this point. Like, she's just employing his services in exchange, right?
I
Sex
don't
for
know.
information.
Maybe it's tough just because last week with the mother, it felt like she didn't have to go that far to even help him out, right? So, and they've now been together for 2 years. Like, I guess that's a long con job then if
Well,
you're not even
1 hour over the span of 2 years. I don't know.
Well, no, he could have made different trips and everything, and not 1 hour or not 2 years because the first year they were together, right? They were living
Yeah, okay.
together,
So 1 hour in 1 year.
maybe, but we don't know what happened there. They could have seen each other throughout
Like
the
some
year.
Davy Jones rules.
We don't know how long he's been there. He's going back. Yeah,
Late
exactly.
night video calls. They were doing some stuff on there.
I just need 5 minutes in the office. I just need 1 hour in the office.
Turn the lights off.
Yeah.
His name is Major
yeah.
Partagaz, by the way.
No wonder I'm never remembering.
Party
Major
gas.
Party gas.
Yeah.
Party gas.
Yeah, that's not a good name actually. I didn't think it was a bad name till we're analyzing it here. I mean, yeah, I was like the perk angle in the video, with anytime we're getting into serial stuff and and Daedra, I was just so hyped, especially jumping from a year. Like I just didn't know how that dynamic was gonna go. Obviously, it starts us just following Cyril on Gorman, like without Daedra, so it's like okay, something's going on there. I really like just the whole setup of this. I liked how it's set up that he's talking to his mom, and like it just seemed like everyone in his office was just listening to his conversation. And then of course, it's revealed later that he knew about this, so it's probably like a planned everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I'm just like this, like poor Cyril. He's just like all of his private conversations with his mom here. Just everybody's finding out about him. But
I was really thrown off because they were doing this thing where he was walking to work and they were playing the conversation. I thought he was on the phone talking to his mom. At one point, he walked up the stairs and he was talking, but his mouth wasn't moving at all. I'm like, this is some of the worst Star Wars ADR I've ever seen. And then they cut to like him on a screen. I'm like, okay, but at first I was like worried. I've still not seen Craven, but I'm like, this is looking like Craven levels over here. But no, it was just a call. And yeah. His mom is. I was surprised she was in this arc. I kind of thought last week, it's weird 'cause 3, but just like the last arc, I thought that was kind of it. I thought that'd just be, hey, that's a section to show off some stuff with his mother, show off how Daedra, might care for him, if not wants to keep him in line, whatever it may be. I did not think she'd be a returning character. And now I'm getting the sense that she'll probably be there for all the arcs if she's here for this one. So not something I was expecting, not a negative. I was just kind of surprised that we picked up back on that thread. So.
If Cyril's there, the mom's going to be there for sure.
yeah, they're a package deal, those two.
He's gonna need a place to stay when he finds out that Daedra is like just lying to him and stuff, right? So
You can go stay at Party Gaz's.
I don't think he's gonna stay at Party Gases. I don't think
He
that's
sleeps at the
happening.
office. Party guys, let's be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep at all. He's he's locked in. He's perk Party Gas with the Empire.
He's in the Bacta tank.
Bacta tank,
right?
yeah.
Bacta tank.
Yeah, he's rocking some death sticks too. He's just juicing up. He knows the Empire's taking over.
Oh yeah, he can feel the constriction, of the Empire's grip. But yeah, getting back to Cyril and Daedra, I just really liked the whole setup of it. I liked when he was going to Coruscant and they were meeting. I really thought she was going to be like pregnant or something like in this year jump. I guess it's only a year, so it's like not that big of a jump. Maybe after these 1 hour meetings, in the next arc we'll see something. But I think it's a low chance that'll happen. But just as he was approaching it, I'm like, holy fuck, it's gonna happen. Didn't happen. What led was even better though. I like when he just walks in, just like, you make sure you weren't followed. He's like, yeah, we're in the clear. I made sure. I did all the steps. And she's like, I know. I had someone follow you. And I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind. Then I guess I was followed. It's
Yeah.
just it's such a fun dynamic, honestly. This like super like uptight, like high ranking Imperial lady who's like so for the Empire. Like she is like the tyrannical types that the emperor would want on his team, and then Cyril's like the Boy Scout who's like really into it, but like not to like he's not sitting at the adult table when it comes
Yeah.
to these Imperial situations. So it's just such a fun dynamic. I'm glad it's still going on. Obviously, the lights out scene that was really fun. I was like, I don't know, somewhat. I have this like encroaching feeling that yes, Daedra is lying to him, and I do think that he's gonna find out at some point. And I'm kind of worried that that'll be like a turn for him. Like maybe he won't be so for the Empire if he finds out that he's just being played by this person that's supposed to mean a lot to him. I feel like he's already been fucked over by the Empire like multiple times, and if something like that really like someone that's supposed to be close to him, someone that he's sharing all these secrets with, they're cutting the lights out together. I feel like that might be a turn where he's like, fuck the Empire, like I gotta burn it down, and maybe it'll be done in a way that I'm really sold on it, but I just don't really want that for the character. I want him to just live and die being a super Imperial man. Not that the Empire, are the good guys or anything, but I don't know. Just for the character, I would prefer it not go that route. But
Yeah, I still wonder if it turns into not so much a fuck the Empire, it might just be to fuck her over, in a sense that just take her down. But that's the thing I like with their story, because obviously with Andor, we know which way it's going. With Mon Mothma, we go like Mon Mothma, we know, okay, eventually she's going to be kind of brought up to light. We even see this episode with, Ben Mendelsohn's character. Why am I forgetting? Krennic, yeah. Like we already see her in public, like kind of flexing her disagreements with people more so than she should, right? Or we know where his story's going, and I feel like in a sense we kind of know like Luthen and Bix are probably gonna bite it before the show's over, right? Just because they're, especially now that they confirmed Bix and Andor are a couple. Even last episode when she said my husband or whatever, that could have just been a play, right? Could just, well, you're just referring to him because you guys are living together. They're in bed. There's implied sex. They're kissing. They're dancing. So they're clearly together. I feel like if Bix was around, there would be some mention in Rogue One. So that's where with these two characters, because they're not all in Rogue One, you could just say, oh well, they're on some fucking Empire ship somewhere, happy being evil. You could say they both die by just like rebels or Andor folk, right? Or it could be he takes her out, she takes him out. There's some prison, like there's that's the thing with them. Their story is the most unpredictable, not just because we don't know like of Rogue One. I just think the way they've shown the story that it could go multiple facets, because at the same time she is like, oh yeah, he can never know, but the only time they get together, she's one to fuck, right? Now, could that just be a power thing for her? Sure, but could there also be a sense that she's lying to the Empire? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna say, of course, like, doesn't matter, Cyril, I'll fuck him over to be loyal to you. But maybe when we get to they've been together for 4 years, maybe that doesn't happen anymore, right? And that's why I don't know. I can't tell you in this situation where like I could see all the scenarios playing out at working, because I think they've written it that well that these characters are very fleshed out and you could see a motivation of which way it could go. Like I said, they could easily just be taken out whatever, So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to end for our terrible Empire couple here. So yeah. Anything else on those two? No words. They're shaking their heads. No, listeners. Okay, let's go to Andor and Bix. Taylor, what do you think about this? You got Bix, who I like the mother. Surprised. I feel like we talked about last week. Like, okay, she was suffering from this PTSD, but she kind of, she survived that attack. She killed that guy. We're going to jump 1 year. She'll probably be over it. No, she's definitely not over it, and that's not confirmed, but that was still big in play. And then you had Andor that had to go on a undercover mission just at first to get some intel, but then, of course, Luthen was lying and really wanted him to do like a bigger mission, which Andor turned him down. So what did you feel about these episodes for Bix and Andor? And again, confirm that they're a couple again now, so...
Yeah, they're having hand gestures with each other, doing some stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Madison tonight and be like, "Hold your hand like this. I'm gonna go down like this." And,
I think I saw Andor actually do that in the episode when they were doing their hand things. He was getting ready for the shocker.
Yeah. with with the help of
what I-
drugs.
Look what I learned on Kashyyyk.
With the help of drugs, Bix managed to turn it around. So
Yeah,
Hold
there you
up.
go, kids.
Hold up.
Now, remember last year in Canada legalized heroin and meth for a little bit? You should have known. You all should have had your problems, done a little meth. Ooh, I'm ready for that 9 to 5 job. My God.
PTSD is just gone now. I'm cured. Let's do this.
Yeah. Everyone take that note from this. If you got PTSD struggles, hard drugs is the way to go.
drugs.
Lean on
Yeah.
drugs if you have no
Yeah.
idea.
But yeah, she's in. Oh,
That was-
Bix.
That's Bix
Fix
taking her
this
fucking
episode.
drops. Yeah.
Perk Bix. Look at the lights. That was her heading into the fucking Empire building. She was looking fired up at the end of this episode. So
She was fired up, and I love that ending for her there. Not that she died, but just her like rebirth, reborn kind of moment. And I knew it was coming as soon as we saw this Dr. Grost guy, and he walks in the room, and you can just see her shadow in the background. It's like, oh, it's fucking over for you. She's goblin in the corner.
you remember me? Yeah. Even though I wasn't fully convinced it was real for a second, because she's already had a couple dream sequences and stuff. So I thought, oh, is this just her tripping out and she's thinking this is what she wants to do? Clearly, at the end, when Andor comes out and it's very realistic, that's how it ends, and there's no wake up. I was like, okay, it's real, and I'm happy it's real, because now I do feel like next week she'll be back, because we'll get a year jump now. I'm not saying she's completely healed, and I'm happy, because that was my complaint last week. It's like, oh, like I'm really liking what they're doing with Bix, and just to like, if we jump a year and she's like, okay, I'm a soldier again, it's like that feels a little like cheating, right? So I like that we still had some repercussions of what's going on. So
If they don't like double down on this drug use thing, I think they're missing the mark. Especially that Andor didn't even really like he didn't even see that, right? Like she was doing it while he was in the house,
not
and
really.
he didn't even catch her doing it. So I imagine that'll be, she'll be doing air quote better because she'll be working, but I imagine she's going to be going through some sort of withdrawal things, and just like a
Or not.
chilling,
That's what
chilling
takes her
sequence
down.
when Luthen was talking to her. And it's like, it's okay for a while, but
Yeah.
like eventually the nightmares will come back and they'll be even worse. So it's just like, oh man, I'm scared. I'm scared for that to happen.
which I kind of liked, because like you never know Luthen, he's a motherfucker, he could be lying, but you kind of get the sense that he's been in that situation where life's just shit and he just needs like a little top up, and that's where I don't know. It could be withdrawals, or it could be that she could still be addicted to that stuff in like a year from now. It could be even worse, right? Like she
Yeah,
She
can't
gets
funny.
function.
Andor.
It's just
Andor
gonna
gets
be-
hooked now.
Oh, I hope not. I think that could be
Touch
the
my hand.
driving.
Touch
That
my
could be
hand
the
and take
driving force away from them. Plus, like I know some people might roll their eyes, but I would not put it past the show. Like, if you're telling me, hey, Big's gonna die from like overdose, like
Yeah.
that would happen in this show. Like that, like I would not be surprised at all if that's what kind of takes her down, because she just can't handle it, right? Because she's getting all this pressure, and it's tough, right? Because I understand where Luthen is when he goes like, hey, and I guess we'll tie Luthen their journey here too, right? But he's like, hey, you feel this passionate about Bix, and that's great. That's one person. You got a whole planet over there that you don't feel this passionate about. And because I get Andor's perspective, that's someone he loves, he's personally connected to. But Luthen's idea, he's not saying it outright, but he's pretty much just saying, like, yeah, that's a person you love. But if they go, it's not really going to make a difference. But this planet, this could make a difference in the war. And that's why he's kind of saying, like, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're going to have this passion for all of it, right? And I do get Luthen saying, like, hey, I want Bix to be good. But if she's not, we're going to have to move on one way or another, whether it's just leaving her in the dust or whatever, almost sending her on a suicide mission, whatever it may be. Like, and I like that he did Andor figure that out. He went to go talk to Bix just because he knew Bix would talk to Andor and would get going. And that's where I love the juxtaposition, because I don't think he's as radical as Saw Gerrera, but he's like a few inches down. And he's like, he's just as bad in like a different direction, but at the same time, they are in war. They are in a situation where it's about to get really, really bad. And it's not like Luthen's wrong. Like, and again, even what he said to Andor, it's really fucked up when he says, hey, we could do this mission. And Andor goes, hey, like, we're going to do this mission, and what's it going to do? We're going to prove that the Empire's dirty, and things are just going to go on. And, Luthen kind of gives some back and forth. They go for a bit, and his two pitches are, okay, we pull off this mission, and maybe something comes from it, or we fail, or whatever, they show off the goods and it fails. But if the planet goes down, it's almost like a worthy sacrifice. And Luthen, like, like he's so just thinking of on a chess piece level. He shows really no emotion because Andor's like, oh, what is that gonna do? Like a city burning down. He said something like, oh, it's gonna burn down in a glorious fashion. Pretty much just saying like, if this city Gorman or this planet Gorman goes down, people are gonna notice, and it's gonna, it's gonna suck. But that's a huge thing to go away. So it's kind of a win for us if it screws up. And that's where it's like Andor right now is not on that thinking. Where Luthen is, I don't think he's as bad as Saw, but Saw is similar in that fashion too. If something can go down and benefit us, then cool. Let's move on to the next thing, right? So very interesting dynamics with all three of them. And yeah, back to Bix, it's just she knows that she's a burden to Andor right now. She's a burden to Luthen because like she knows she should be out there doing stuff, and he's checking on her. There's things implied, and it's just that's where it's like I could see the drugs getting out of hand because she just feels like, oh, I got to be there for these people for the cause, but if it's gonna tank your whole life, is it worth it? And obviously, I don't know because that's war and that's a tough situation. But yeah, there's lots of layers to this three-way dynamic between them.
Mm-hmm.
Anything? Let's see. We got yeah. So that guy's dead, or he's lots of pain. Then he got exploded, so he did die. But I did like that Andor helped her out to do that mission there.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I agree with you, Travis. I thought it was actually a dream sequence, just because it felt like way too easy. Like this guy is just working alone on the night shift. He's like, even the Emperor, like they made note that like the Emperor. I don't remember the line what was said, but it's just like
he was doing well, so he was being moved to a new division with the Navy.
But
who was?
Gorst or Grost, or whatever he is.
And it was like the Emperor like himself kind of like recognized that he's important, right? Like so it's like I feel like this guy would have like a security detail, not like fucking Paul Blart watching him.
Just one guard outside.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't be here, and then boom. It did feel very easy.
It seemed easy. I'll give them a pass when I like saw Andor. I'm like, okay, well, it was a team effort. So then, they used some resources here to get this mission done. So maybe I'll give it a pass. And it was just like an epic end of the show. Or end of the episode. I thought it was pretty badass. And good for her, she got her revenge. I don't think that'll really end the nightmares or anything like that. That's what she's got drugs for, fortunately, as Taylor highlighted. So good for her. There's something else you said with Luthen. Oh, when Andor showed up to the Luthen's like shop essentially in the middle of the night. I thought that was wild. I was like, man, this is so brutal here. Like this is
you got that medallion you found on the ship, and Andor's like, what you fucking doing in my life? And Luthen's just trying to.
He shouldn't even have told Andor like, "Hey, I run a shop right here. This is where you'll find me in person." That information shouldn't be with anyone else except him and Clea.
That's a major red flag, and I'm curious if it probably won't happen, but it's the type of thing that seems like such a big deal that it's like, I'm sure someone caught something, and then we're gonna see in a further episode of, I don't know, some Imperial people looking at the footage. But I don't think it'll come to that. I think I don't think Luthen's free and in the clear.
because they're not onto him, but they're getting closer, right? With that track, like they were gonna scan everything, and that's where you'd find them. Like now, obviously, it's just a routine scan at this point, right? To find out, oh, is there people out there? But still, it's like. Like Andor showing up, that happening, even Luthen being in the room with his like Weasel guy and Krennic and Mon Mothma all at the same time. It's like that's a dangerous combination of people to be together, because one slip up by somebody, because I thought it was going to happen when she was doing the whole device thing and Luthen was looking over. Krennic was like looking like he wasn't. They didn't do this, but he was inquisitive, so I thought he was going to see Luthen watch them and be like, why is he just staring at these two? But it didn't happen, at least right now. Maybe that's something, because again, I do think Luthen will die, but I think this arc, Luthen was put in many precarious positions where, and he even said that to, what's her name again?
Clea.
He said, which I liked, he said, like, we're drowning. He's like, I can't even keep track of all the information we're getting out and all the spies, because that's the tough thing, and that's why they need someone like with Mon Mothma and Leia and all this stuff and more network, because as much as like Luthen can't be the rebellion by himself, and that was Andor 1, right? And it's easy because that's like a small group of people. It's still hundreds of people, but it's like you have your team captains, your leaders, your managers, supervisors. But now when it's spreading all out, and you have Mon over here, and you have Andor, and you got Saw doing his stuff, and then you have like Clea dealing with her stuff, and then you got all these other agents, and now a whole planet. There's no way he can. All this information, how do you pile? It's not like a computer, right? You can put that on a computer and be like, okay, here's the mission statement. You can't do that with this. You have to, it's all like with whispers and secrets. So I love
Yeah.
that he did say to her, like, we're at our ends rope right now with all this. It's good to have getting information, but it's like trying to keep track of, okay, what's Andor up to? What's this guy up to? Oh well, now there's a device, and oh my god, and he's mad at her for it. But it's yeah, they it's gonna catch. I think that's what they're trying to emphasize is he's inches away from getting caught, and I think unfortunately he's gonna get caught. Who catches him? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who it'll be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Krennic, just because he's
Yes.
like the big honcho. I was hyped when he was in here. Just fucking
Great
Ben
scene.
Mendelsohn, let's go. And
Yeah.
just again, whenever I have a character that's like interacted with like Sheev or someone in the past, I'm like, oh man, this is adding just some weight to this. And honestly, I didn't have any of these thoughts going into the season, but specifically in this arc, I would not be surprised if we get an Emperor appearance somewhere before the show is done.
It's not happening.
Okay, well there you go. Now I'm surprised by that news. It just seems like it would fit so well though, because they keep bringing him up, they keep mentioning his name, and like just the whole secret club that they got going on, right, with Paragas and fucking Deidre and those guys, Krennic's team. It just seems like we're keep hinting around the boogeyman that is the Emperor, and I think it would have just added so much to have that appearance somewhere in the show. And again,
Yeah.
just a hologram. Like like you don't even have to have him there or anything like that.
Sad that they're not doing it.
Yeah, Gilroy just said it was too much of a lift, and I think he's just kind of implying it took a lot away from the show. But as we've gone on,
What about
it's
Vader?
like
Are we getting Vader? Is that confirmed?
no, he confirmed that too. No Vader as well. He just said like it's hard to write for Vader, which I can understand when you're not dealing with certain things. But Emperor, it's like especially even with the senator stuff, or like the Senate stuff, like in all the like. I don't know. Like I don't know. I'd have to have a personal conversation with Tony Gilroy because I'm not a writer. But I just feel like, is it that much of a lift with all the stuff you're kind of setting up? Like it almost feels like Vader, not as much. Emperor feels like there is almost like a little missing aspect there if we don't get him, you know, and we're not. But it does because when Taylor was pitched out before, I was like, oh, I don't know. But the way this season's been layered, it to me would make someone think, oh, you're gonna get at least a scene, you know, and the fact that it sounds like we're not, I understand that as far as again, it's a massive character, right? And bring that in, maybe you want to, you know, feel you want to have the time, or even just like money wise again, because like fucking my boy Jimmy Smith's got recast because Tony Gilroy said that I think he said legacy character. I don't know if he said characters, but at least one character was recast because of scheduling and financial issues. So I think maybe Jimmy Smith just wanted more money than for I'm imagining Organa's in like another scene. I would hope it'd be a dumb scene to like just hey,
It'd be completely pointless. Completely pointless. The way that they're talking about it though implies that okay, we're gonna see him again. I'm assuming in
Yes.
probably with like the last arc before
like-
Rogue One.
if that was the only scene, I'd be like, yeah, Jimmy Smith's be like, you want me to fly down for what? And pay me for how much? Like, I don't know. Like, and you know, I guess Jimmy Smith's picked Dexter over this, so we'll be talking about him come July. So I got caught wind of that last week, but maybe that's just a situation where maybe it's like maybe the lift was like putting money in Ian McDermott's pocketbook, right? Of like, hey, like that's because that to me. I personally don't like that they recast Jimmy Smith. I think you just don't have Bale in there, but I can see them doing that. I don't think you recast the Emperor, right? And that could be the situation where like, yeah, we can have Ian in here, but you know, we already paid him a lot for Obi-Wan. Andor's already expensive because it looks great. You know, the lift is, can we afford Ian? And I don't know if that's, so that might just be an easier way to say, oh, I just couldn't figure out a way to get him. But the season feels like it's riddled with like
Everyone's
build-up.
saying, "I know the Emperor. I know the Emperor."
Yeah.
Oh, I just talked with the Emperor. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, just give us the Emperor. Like, just to piggyback on what you're saying, I really thought we were gonna see him in this because, well, everyone knows Palpatine is just he's the Dark Lord of the Sith. You know, he's like ha 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 ha, like old perk angle there. But
He
he's
needs some perks, so he's looking after Sith.
he's definitely the looming in the background, like manipulating and everything like that, dark force user, all that kind of stuff. But yes, you see the other side of him in the prequel movies, and you get to see some of that stuff in the Clone Wars, yada yada yada. But like the best post Empire moment of him that you get to see is like in the Bad Batch. It's the third episode of season 3, and it's amazing. There's a Senate hearing. You got all the senators in there. I'm pretty sure Bail Organa was in this, and just a little bit of context. So they're trying to vote on a bill to allow the decommissioned clone troopers to have a little bit of like severance and like stability instead of just being like sent out to be homeless, because they're trying to decommission the clone army and usher in the stormtroopers. And so there's a senator called Senator Chuchi who's trying to petition for the clones to have rights. And so it's getting out of control and whatnot. And then they play this footage showing that the clones were ordered to bombard and destroy Camino. And this one Imperial Admiral is Admiral Rampart's being just castrated here by all the senators. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are we supposed to feel safe? Like, this is crazy. The clones, yada yada. And so the whole Senate hearing is just chaos. And then this buzzer goes off, and then the center platform comes up, and Palpatine comes up, and he immediately goes into like Chancellor Emperor political mode. And it's fucking amazing because he turns this around and he's like, yeah, the fact that the clones so blindly follow orders, this is unsafe. We need a reliable, structured military, so we're going to usher in this clone bill. And he's like, it's my opinion that this legislation moves forward with this. And he's just talking, and it's like, man, that is the political side of Palpatine that I really wish that we got to see in this show, and it would fit so well if you have something like that. And while I don't mind seeing another alien saying in the center podium, like, oh, chant Empire, this, that, together, holiness, yeah, it's like, it's not the same. And I really would have that would have been the icing on top. This would have been fucking perfect to have the Emperor right there, because even like in Revenge of the Sith, they were talking about how did they word it? I'm paraphrasing, but they were worried that this emergency hearing of the Senate was going to be a trap, but they were talking at the same time like, no, because the Emperor has to keep all the systems together and the Senate intact, basically, to keep things cohesive. And we don't learn until A New Hope that the last remnants of the Old Republic kind of get swept away by the Emperor, right? So they're still dealing with like the Senate and still a lot of political things involved. And at this point too, yes, people are afraid of challenging the Empire, as we could see with Mon trying to rally petition to put an end to this new platform that the Emperor was petitioning for. So again, it sucks.
That's
that
the
they
most
didn't take
egregious
advantage of it.
one when they have. I can't remember the guy who's like tied to Gorman, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna like publicly vote against the Emperor." That to me was the most egregious of like. You have literally people talk about her going against the Emperor and you don't have them in the show. That's where I can buy, like, hey, people talk about the Emperor. I talked to him. He wants to do this. Fine. But when you actually have Mon opposed, I feel like you're setting, that's the character that should be having that moment. And especially with Krennic, where she's starting to speak up publicly and it's getting really awkward. That's where I think, oh, there's no one else that'll say anything. And before, because obviously Mon Mothma is eventually going to bounce, right? And join the rebellion and just be like off in the base and stuff like that. I feel like there'd probably be a few moments where, okay, she's a number one enemy of the Empire, and her speaking out publicly against Palpatine, like in front of everybody, that could be a really great moment for that character. But obviously, we're not getting that, so they'll probably do something else. So we'll see. Let's take another ad break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Where do we want to go next?
Where next?
Oh, I just want to mention when you talked about Krennic being the one to get Luthen, the reason I do want that is because I want a scene of Krennic and real Luthen to have a conversation, because I think that'd be some outstanding television, not like fake Luthen. So I hope you're right, and that does happen, and then we go from there. I hope it's not just like Luthen's on a ship and explode. I hope
It's like that Deadpool Wolverine scene where Krennic reaches out and grabs Luthen's head, and Luthen falls back, and like the hair comes off, and Krennic is like looks at the wig, like the TVA agent to Deadpool.
I wouldn't go that route, but
There's a laugh track in the scene too.
We'll
It's
never
really
know.
uplift it.
Yeah.
I think it was when we were talking about Luthen. I meant to mention. I loved just Varian Sky. Was that his name?
The fashion designer.
Yeah, the fashion designer. Just a really fun role, especially because I feel like Andor, specifically like Cassian Andor in this show is just so serious, and like there's some moments where he might have like a light comment. It's like I would argue even to call it a joke. It's just like he just seems so serious for the most part throughout the whole show, and then in here where he's just being this like. He's trying to be like his best Luthen essentially here with like the designer. I don't think he even gets half to the charisma of what Luthen gets to. But Luthen's been doing it a lot longer, so I'll give him a pass there. But yeah, when he's just like going from the fashion designer to like in the same sentence just gets really serious and like starts talking about all these things, and then as they're like wrapping up the conversation, he's like getting his coat, and then it's like, oh yeah,
see
you
you
can get that
tomorrow.
sent to my house. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it was. So I thought that was really really fun, and just a different role that we've seen for Andor have to play in this game of spy.
Yeah. No, I thought there was multiple great stuff there. That was fun. I liked his little scene with the bellhop because that felt like a fucking video game RPG where it felt like you could see the text bubbles over Andor like trying to say the right thing to get him to speak of like, oh, I'm just looking for information. Then he throws it's almost like the, say something good, bad, pay money, and that's what he did. He gave him some money. He's like, well, we're not supposed to talk about this. But I actually like that scene with the bellhop because it's just like it puts a perspective of he doesn't look like he should be there because he's a younger guy. But yeah, this happened when I was 12, and fucking brutal story of Tarkin just being like, oh, no one thought they were gonna land a ship on a bunch of unarmed people, and they just fucking did, and then like took it over. So it's like, damn, that's that's brutal. So I liked that. A good juxtaposition where I really liked the scene where I can't remember her name, but the daughter of the main guy Andor is making contact with, that she kind of rushed him to the restaurant, wanted to get that meeting going. And when he ran down, like, hey, I could be ISB, I could be just playing you for a trick to get money. He listed all these ways she could fail, and him being like, you never do that. Like, you got to get better at this. I enjoy that because, one, that's a few things we saw back in the day with Andor, but two, it kind of makes him hypocritical because what did he do with Luthen either in this episode later on or the next episode when he just rushed to Luthen's shop, right? So the same way where he's like, oh, you make one mistake, everyone could be locked up. That's what he did with Luthen. Like, what if people are fucking watching Luthen's show? Like, whatever, like we talked about, right? And what if that leads to Luthen getting caught, his assistant, Vic? So that's where, again, it shows, okay, yeah, he is cool, calm, collected, but when he's giving these people shit for, oh, they're Russian, they're all feeling this is too personal, and they're getting worried, it's like, that's what you're doing too, dude. And that's what Luthen was trying to say to him as well. Like, no, he didn't have that context, that conversation, but of the personal versus the greater good. And that's where it's like, even you, Andor, got to put that aside. But no, everything was good. The conversations with everybody. And I liked that Andor, until that Luthen stuff, definitely felt like he was, if we're talking about RPGs, he was like a way higher level. And they talk about that, but like way higher level than all these people as far as like their plans. And he doesn't look like cocky about it or arrogant, but he does have a sense of like, you guys are way over your head. And like you can't pull this off, and if you do, it's not even worth it. Like, he just feels like this mission is kind of kaput, and even he tells Luthen that, right? He's like, I'm sitting this one out. There's for other reasons because he thinks it's risky, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I think this was a highlight. And it's good because I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just feel like because it's 6 episodes left, I don't know how much more comedic Andor we're gonna get. Like we got a little bit last week with the ship and those the people that took him prisoner, and then we got this. I feel like the next 6 that area is kind of gone, barring a quip or two. I guess we do got K2SO coming, right? So I imagine there will be some comedic bits there, but I feel like that'll be him reacting to K2SO doing the comedic stuff rather than Andor being like, I'm a chef and I'm here to look at the balls, so. Like
Show
chicken
those
balls,
balls.
not yeah, the famous Tatooine chicken balls or whatever. Whatever that thing Watto was. Remember Jar Jar? He's trying to get it with his tongue, and then he hits Sebulba. Whatever that is. Those probably some good balls there.
Good balls.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, everything. Because you guys were talking about Krennic just before. I loved seeing Krennic in this. That was great. Him going head to head with Mothma. That was fantastic. I agree with you guys. I'd love to see him kind of be the one to kind of like take a shot towards Luthen when Luthen is exposed or revealed to be the main like rebel cell contact.
Bare naked, just strapped to a cell somewhere.
That's right.
Keeps the wig though. They let him keep the wig just to disrespect him.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that is unfolded and that plays out with his character. Obviously, we know he's not going to die, but Luthen might, and many others might still. What was it that you transitioned to after that? It was Tarkin and the Gorman incident. That's the thing that I really wish they didn't skip over in this year. I was so looking forward to seeing the people protesting and everything going on, and now I just feel like, okay, well, we're getting another protest after the initial protest. And that protest, like that's the big cheese. That's the big thing that put Mothma in this position with what's going on in the Senate and whatnot. And I just think it's unfortunate. I would really have loved to have seen just that Gorman incident.
Is that just because we didn't have a Tarkin to use, you think?
Well, Maybe, but I feel like
You don't even need to show his face. Like you could have just had again the ship landing and get like a back view shot of him, like they
or
did
even
with
some
Rogue One.
voice or something like that too, right? So I feel like there's a way you could have, maybe not a full episode, but at least the incident. I think they could have showed off because they told us that story without seeing Tarkin here. They literally did in this situation a tell not show. They told the story of what happened. So I think you could have done that with some actor, or knowing Disney now, they probably just would have used fucking AI voice modulator to get Tarkin in there. But I think you could have done something. So it was a little odd, but maybe, again, who knows, whether they didn't want to cross that bridge again, whether it's a budgetary thing, or it's like we talked about too, right? This was supposed to be multiple seasons, now it's crammed into one, and they just probably looked at like, hey, what can we keep and what should we discard, right? And maybe it's like, okay, well, this whole sequence is great, but we could just have a couple characters say this in a few sentences, and then we got the point across, so... Just because we moved past it, I don't have much to say other than I really liked the sequence of her trying to... I always forget her name. Was it Clea? Clea. Her getting the recording device out of there. Really great stuff with that the ISB guy who's like very squirrely, and man, he's going through the ringer, but just move to the left, move to the right. Fucking
It's
every
so
time.
stressful if you're his position. Like you're not even supposed to interact with this person in like day to day, and she's like, "We got to go do this in front of all your bosses right now." It's
but
like,
at the same time,
are you fucking kidding me? Like
just
no.
listen to her and grab the fucking table. It's like, I'm not grabbing this table. It's like you're gonna be fucked.
He's like
man.
making
just
a scene.
just grab the fucking table. It's gonna be over. But like literally, her hands bleeding. So, yeah, she's a great soldier. Unfortunately, I think she's gonna meet a bad ending as well too. But I like her more and more, and I really liked her and Luthen's scene at the end when they just kind of. Again, some levity of like, oh, I thought you were going to kill Krennic right there. Like some levity of, okay, they both went through the situation where it literally could have been over for them, but they figured it out and got there. And again, probably a sad ending coming, but I really like that scene. Everything with the Ard and seeing the Ard and then looking at it, that whole party scene was great. So.
Did you see all the? And maybe we talked about this in season 1, but I have no recollection whatsoever of this conversation. That Clea is maybe Leia. Apparently, that's a big rumor conspiracy that it's Leia in disguise.
I think I remember that. I don't need to go down that path.
I see some similarities actually now that you mention that, and just like the face, like she looks
and I think
similar.
That's the only foundation for this kind of trajectory. But I just hope she's an original character. I don't need it to be Leia.
I think it's also weird if Bale's at that same party. You think like that could be weird if like he's gonna be like that's.
He winks at her. It's like, what's that all about?
Well, yeah, because there are times where Princess. Krennic's just seeing everybody like stare at you like, what is going on? Like, no, I just think that's weird because like eventually, like Organa, he plays along like Mon Mothma does, right? He is like, oh yeah, I'm for the Empire. So I imagine at some point people would have saw his daughter Princess Leia, so it'd feel really weird that they're at the same
As
party.
your daughter working as a secretary at this store all the time.
Or weeks later, if they didn't know it was his daughter, now she's with him, be like, that was your daughter? Like, why didn't you even introduce? Like, so no, I think if she was just stayed in that shop, maybe, but she's been too out in the public to me for her to not be Princess Leia to Alderaan. That would just seem too, as somebody that likes the twist, that seemed like the whole John Blake is Robin from Dark Knight Rises. And I like that. I think that's fine. This to me would be a little too egregious because there's past stuff where Robin in that universe was just, that's the first time we met him, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I was gonna say the only thing I was gonna talk about, not the only thing, but the thing that I disliked was the I can't remember their two names, but obviously Andor does not go on the mission, so he sends, which was Mon Mothma's
Vel and
I was
cousin.
right, you fuckers.
You were so my defense was the recap I watched said it was her sister, so they fucked me. But you were right again. Not saying you, Kurt. I said the recapper they fucked me. But again, great line in this show. I love when you should see how gone Luthen is. He's like, oh, like, have you heard from my cousin? It's been 3 months. He's like, oh, what's it about? And she's going on and off. And then he's like, well, what message do you want me to send? And she's like, that I care about her. Like, he can't even think that that's the only reason Mon Mothma wants to know about her cousin. Not because the mission, not the success rate, money, whatever it is, all Luthen's checklist. There's no thought of, oh, maybe she just wants to know about how her family member's doing. And he just kind of looks shell-shocked when she says, like, cause I care, because I think Luthen's kind of lost that, right? He cares to a point, but again, he's shown, he's like Saw, where if it comes down to a person he cares about on the mission, he's going to pick the mission. And that's where I like that, because again, it shows, I think that's the difference between Luthen and Saw, and then what the rebellion becomes with Mon and Leia and Luke and Han, where you can have some cutthroatness, but you still got to have the heart. Like that's what's going to, because then you're no better than the enemies, right? But so he sends the cousin, and the second, which I was glad, because there's that girl that she's liked, and I was like, Cinta, it's like, okay, you guys got to get it on because you might die, and she did die. I did not like this whole sequence. The heist was fine, but it was so cheesy. Of they're doing this heist, and the guy with his fucking suspender shows up. What's going on? And it's like, it's this weird, almost like Mandalorian set where it's just like one alley and like a couple people. It's like feels like a play, and Andor doesn't usually feel like that, and it felt weird because like maybe I was wrong in the meetings. He felt like he was pretty much like against the Empire, right? That guy.
Oh yeah, and he helped them escape too.
Yes. So my whole thing is like, no one diffused the situation. Supposed to be like, hey, we're trying to take down the fucking Empire. Like, just give us like, try, but just to be like, go home. Like that was cheesy.
Go home and pulls a gun on him.
Yeah, like it's, and I get it because he's a rookie, but like, and to do like the way you kill her is wrestling with a gun, they shoot her, and like you said, he comes over, oh, I'll take her back. So it's just like, in a second, it's not even like he shoots her and then he's still like, I'm fucking ran you all out. Because maybe he's against the Empire, but he still doesn't like, he doesn't want to get caught, right? He just still is going to, whatever his motivation is, he doesn't want to do that. But no, he just kind of helps them complete the heist and gets the body back. So I thought for Andor, which is usually never a messy show, that whole sequence was very messy. And I wish they gave, like, I get what they're trying to do. Unexperienced rookie makes a mistake, but like, what else was he supposed to really, other than saying the Empire thing? Like, this guy was so like, I'm fucking going, and if you don't let me, I'm going to shove this gun down your throat. It's like, what was he supposed to do? It's not like I just felt like they should have made the rookie guy do something even more careless that would kill her. But for her to give this whole speech like, you're not half the man that the woman she was, and she was a legend, and you're nothing. And I was like, he doesn't deserve, like, it just didn't feel warranted. I felt like that whole heisting up until that point I was enjoying, but that to me was like I said, an actual point in the show where I could see, I might not be able to give this a full 10, because I thought that was really just like, it felt more like the other Disney Plus stuff where we eye roll and go, okay, like we had to do this to get there, and just it didn't work. And I I like their chemistry, great scene. That was fun to have them finally admit how they're feeling, but very, very awkward setup with Suspenders guy and the heist and everything. So that's my only negative so far this season that I really would put in that column of like, oh yeah, this was not the greatest. So
yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I feel like I was just so confused on like everything that was going on in that sequence, because it was just I was trying to like figure out if it was like it was an actual plan or if it was a fake plan to trip up the people that know about the fake plan that actually is a real plan. Like, it just seemed like there were so many layers to it that I was kind of just waiting to see what happened, and then it was just really messy, like actual substance to it, like what you just laid out, where this just random guy who like, why the fuck is he even here? And
looking like fucking Mario, in my opinion. Jack Mario, just like he's looking like trying to fuck us. You know, why is he here? And why is he so like, I'm gonna find out what's going on? It's like, what the?
He's so like determined to figure out what's going. Like, he gets right in that guy's face. He's
I clicked it at the same time.
For the audio listeners, we have a clip of James Franco slapping Tom McGuire in Spider-Man 2. They clicked it both at the same time. So give it a full click. Someone give it a full click to get it. You know.
My hands are off.
Okay.
Huh? Isn't that right? Huh, brother?
And that was Mario.
Basically Mario, yeah. He's like, you're gonna fucking shoot me? Huh, brother? Huh?
Like, when he said he's gonna shove the gun down his throat, it's like, it feels like this issue you're having is about something. Like, did you get your wife cheating on you or something? Like, yeah, you fucked my wife. Like, it felt like he just went out and he was like, I'm gonna fuck some people up tonight. And and then when that girl said, he's like, oh, I'll get you, know, we'll get you to your spot. It's
He
just
got
like
out of his system.
Yeah, he's like completely a normal guy, and it's like, is he hitting some drug? Is he perk Mario? Is he on some roid rage? Like, it was so weird. Like, that needed another scene or two. You know,
it was strange too, because I could have sworn that guy was like with them. Like, he was like with them.
He was.
So when he just shows up at the end, and
I'm fine if he shows up and he questioned him like, hey, what are you guys doing? Because they say guns are stealing stuff. Like, what are you guys doing? But he felt like he was someone opposed them, like, oh, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, I caught you doing something bad. But yeah, it felt like in the meetings. That's what I was going to ask you. It just felt like he was with them. So I was very confused when all this was going down.
He was definitely with them. And then when Val comes back and she went to look for another girl, it's like, what happened? I'm sure Roy and Mario was like, oh, it was him. It was that young boy over there.
He left. He dropped the dead body off and he pieced the fuck out. I thought he was going to be that truck with them. No, he just let the young guy, who, like I said, I don't think deserves all the blame for this situation, get chewed out. And he's like, I'm going to go make some mushrooms. Like he left. It was like, and he just went back like, oh, honey, you wouldn't believe the night I just had. Like, it didn't feel like he's no remorse. Like he felt like he was a bystander that saw someone got shot. I'm like, oh, I'm going to help. Like, no, dude, you caused this. You killed her more than the young guy. You fucking killed this lady, but he got off scot-free, Mario. So weird story.
It was very
in this
weird,
one.
and it just felt below like the quality of the show
Yes.
for everything that we've seen in the first 2 seasons. So yeah, I was just unsure on how I felt because it was just so much stuff going on. I couldn't believe that they killed off Cinta that way. It's just so, like, I get it. You could have a very heroic, badass character just die in a very like simple way. I don't think that's like what makes it bad. It's just like compiling on everything that we just laid out, like Mario and this fucking simp guy that that's Val's words, not mine.
Yeah.
But like that's what killed this character who's supposed to, like, just this badass. It's like one of Luthen's like big general, or not general, whatever the fuck her role might be.
Just got
she's
randomly
qualified.
shot.
Yeah,
Just got,
exactly.
and
And as soon as the shot went off, I'm like, for fuck's sakes, that's gonna be Cinta. And then
Yeah.
it went to her. Like, that's what
because they finally made love. You knew it was over once they made love. I was like, oh, one of them's dying.
It's like what you said, Trev. So it's like, oh, this is like bad Mando stuff. Where it's
Yes.
just like, man, like this is not like I thought we were past all of this. So that was unfortunate. I really didn't like. I didn't feel that like perturbed by it until now. I think because I'm just stewing on it a little bit more. Because in the
It's just
moment I was
on
just
now,
confused. I was just confused. I was like, that is just so weird. I don't fully knew what was going on.
and we're probably never gonna see Mario ever again.
Yeah, probably.
He
At
just
first I
came
thought
here
it was
to
like
get Cinta
fucking
killed.
Grosso or whatever, like Brasso, not Grosso.
He looks like that. So he does, and for some reason, that shopkeeper that Bix and Andor go see also look like Brasso as well. When he's like, "Oh, you want a year-old one?" Like I was
I
like,
see his face everywhere.
I was like, is Brasso like? Did he like fake his death? And he's here like multiple times. He get popping up. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was just something that, yeah, the more I stew on it, the more upset I get about it. And then the other thing, we kind of already talked about him, but just Cyril's whole what he knows and what he doesn't know, and what like he might know that is not revealed to the viewer right now. I feel like I'm a little bit unsure on what's going on there because I don't know. I have this feeling that he knows more than what's being shown.
Do you?
But maybe that's just a false because like he is so blinded by his loyalty, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, that like he wouldn't even, like, you might see
I think what Party Packs
Deidre
and
do something in
Deidre-
front of him and he just will ignore it because he's just so blind by it. But I think it was just mostly how some of those sequences went through, like, by it seemed like it was I'm on to something, but maybe I'm reading into it too much.
Yeah, I think he's on to stuff, but whatever Deidre and Party Packs was talking about, I don't think he knows that. I don't. Yeah, I forgot what his real name is, but that would be quite a twist if he actually did know along what the fuck they're talking about, and he like double cons Deidre and like, oh, I knew you were gonna kick me to the curb. Like, nah, I was here
The
to
final
smash and
shot
dash
is him standing next to the
with Mario. Mario
It was
is
me.
heavy.
It was me, Deidre.
Because he was watching the binoculars right away. He's like, I'm gonna recruit that fucking guy. Look, he's massive. He killed that lady with one shot, accidentally. And then the only thing we haven't touched on so far yet is Saw Gerrera. Not too much in here, but anytime Forrest Whitaker's in here, they gotta get his ass to make some big ass speech, which is always good because he's.
With
I
that
am
voice.
great. Though you feel the wild in your breath, in your eyes.
Just
I
breathe
don't-
this gasoline and just fucking
Yeah.
inhale it.
We'll be long
God.
dead when the Republic comes back. Help me. But yeah, just pretty much showing how like someone gets radicalized, because that's what he does, right? Is this guy is we've seen him before, but he's there just to drop something off, but he's held against his will. He has all these other predicaments wanting to get back to these people, but he's like, it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome thing where he's holding him against his will, and then he's giving this big speech and like, dude, join me. Like he gives him this big rah thing. So you just saw how Saw can get into, and I like all this. I'm having fun with the voice, but I actually think this was all good because I think it shows like how Saw again has his methods right, and it's almost like this guy gets scared into being no choice but helping Saw, but Saw kind of makes him retroactively think it's his idea, right? By saying like, you choose to be a warrior. So it's pretty fucked up in a manner. Like I said, I still think he is more fucked up than Luthen because he's just, because I didn't know who was going to get shot really at that point when he's like, oh, you've trained him, everything, I could literally see Saw Gerrera shooting this fucking guy right now. And it like, he's way overboard as far as the mission goes, right? And he's even like, he's on a suicide mission because he said like, oh, we'll be long dead before the Republic gets back. So it's like, I get what he's saying of like, oh, our sacrifices will mean something, but at the same time, it just seems like he's ready to go, and that's, I guess, liberating as well because it makes you maybe do things that you wouldn't before. But yeah, great speech, great moment, and like that was. You would watch that scene if you didn't know the history of Saw Gerrera and you didn't know what he's fighting for. You would think he's probably on the bad guy side. The way he speaks, the way he does things with people, the way just he looks at them. It's just he is not a good, pleasant fellow, which is funny because, like we said,
his eyes and it's just he just
he's
looks
got the
so
look in those
fucking-
eyes. Yeah. And to me, it's like that's what makes me interested to watch Rogue One because Rogue One, I feel like because I didn't watch the anime, but even the animation, he never feels as bad as this.
He was in Rebels, and he was still kind of like.
Yeah, but what did I say?
You said the animation.
But I said I hadn't seen the animation when I saw Rogue One. But I'm saying like even in the animation, he's like a radical. But like it always seems like, oh, he does things a little more not by the books. This is like, this guy's fucking crazy. And that's where like in Rogue One, I feel like he's pretty much, Jin, will you save them? Like he feels like he's kooky, but he's still like, oh, he's a hero. Now watching this scene and going to Rogue One, it's like I'm not gonna feel the same way about Saw Gerrera as I have before. So yeah, Forrest Whitaker always fun and interested to see what they get up to with this fucking bomb and what other things are gonna have people breathe in and everything. So
Yeah, so I don't know what happened here, but I definitely missed some details on just what this whole fucking thing was. So it was a bomb, or it was like an activator for a bomb, or
so rhydonium is a type of it's very, very potent starship fuel, and so what they had was basically
they're
I
huffing
think
it. They were
huffing it. Oh yeah.
Right on.
Perk Saw Gerrera for sure.
Do you remember in Mando season 2, I think,
You
when
remember Kirkland?
Bill Burr came back and
Oh,
Boba
yeah.
Fett was off to the side and Bill Burr was in there, and Bill Burr had that amazing like PTSD moment at the coffee table with the Imperial officer, and he was like, it just ends up shooting him, and Mando took his helmet off in that episode. So when they were moving those fuel cells or whatever that transported that cargo
those
tanker, that was the Rhydonian. So
Okay. Yeah, just how they were describing it, I didn't know if it was like a fucking whatever it was. It was a drug. It was I don't know what it was. And I think I was just a little bit confused on what the mission was because there's variants for like the device, I guess, I don't know. I think I was just trying to like focus too much on the details. I probably should have just rewound it and rewatched the sequence, but I'm like, oh, I'm sure they'll cover it. And then it gets to the end and they just take it off their mask and just Forrest Whitaker is going all off with this monologue, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. What's going on here? Mr. Willem, was that his name? It was something close to that. Will Dom or something like that.
Will Dong.
Wilmon.
Wilmon. I just remember Saw gives like he just says his name in a funny way. It made me chuckle. But yeah, no, I really loved all of the just kind of his perspective. Like it is extreme, but it's not wrong, really. Like
He's
from
technically
like
on the good side.
yeah, exactly. So, and like he killed the Imperial spy, which is probably an important thing to do, right? Like the guy was beaconing towards the Empire.
Yeah, there
supposedly.
was. That's what I was gonna say. I don't know if we'll ever get that answer. There was part of me that wondered if he was not a spy and Saw just did that.
They had
so
like
he
a
could keep-
beacon thing that he picked up. So
What if
that
they
was
planted it
really
on him though?
transmitting.
It was
No,
Saw's
in
the Imperial
retrospect,
spy.
in retrospect, I can believe it because you can look back at how he was asking questions when he was one on one with Wilmon. He's like, so yeah,
Dom.
he asked it very casually, like, and who trained you? And he's like, oh, sorry, yeah, I'll stop asking questions.
So I agree with that, but Taylor, would you not agree if I said, "Hey, if they had to detonate this bomb, they have a guy that they've trained and he's iffy, where they have a guy that they've trained that's perfect, that Saw would do some trickery to keep the perfect guy there." That's where it's like that to me is not out of the realm possibility for like, we're just gonna frame this guy, kill him, and then this guy has to stay. Where before it'd be like, oh well, I've trained him. Why are you keeping me against my will? This is like, oh, I have to because this guy was a spy. Like to me, that's not out of the realm possibility for something Saw would do. He would go that far to make sure, like, I'm gonna make sure this guy that can do the bomb is gonna do it. You know, you're probably right, but I was
but
like,
then why not just make the guy just like, okay, well, you can't do it, just be a soldier and fight, and then we'll keep the bomb guy here. Why even have the guy
Because-
why train the person to begin with?
Well, because they want him to go. So the thing is, like, this thing has to happen the next day, right? So it's like, well, if you shoot him, it's like, well, I have no one else, so you have to stay, you know? And that's why.
But that didn't even matter. They didn't need to convince him, like, oh, we don't have anyone now, so you have to stay. It was more like, hey, you're just gonna stay against your will. We'll just have a bed for you.
It is, but I think at least with that guy dead, it's a little more with him. He buys into it a bit of like, okay, I'm the only one that can do this. Where if the other guy's just like around and a soldier, it might be like, hey, why can't I just train that guy for a couple more hours? But you're probably right. I do think he was a spy, but it did creep my mind of like, oh man, like, you know, I could not trust Saw Gerrera. That's definitely the boss I'm not picking. Of like, I don't want to be on that camp because who knows what's going on. But and I love those little like alien people he has with him. I can't remember what type of
Tubes, I
Two
think, is what
tubes.
their names.
Yeah,
Two
because
tubes.
that's in the Star Wars Zero game. That's the Jedi in the strategy game. So I'm excited to play as them. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, everything with Saw was great, and he's just, I think he's a piece of shit. I know he's a radical rebel, but yeah, he's just, ever since his stunt that he pulled in the Bad Batch, I hate him. He's an asshole, and he does just his willingness to sacrifice other rebels and just people for the cause and what his objectives are. I mean, yeah, as he calls it the greater good, he's just obsessed with killing the Empire at this point. It's just, it's a whole bunch of craziness, but I mean, it makes for a compelling, interesting character, that's for sure. And it's neat to see him where he's kind of got all his bits and pieces. So between now and Rogue One, he loses a lot more, like his legs and his other arm and all that, and he has Will Dom. He has got his breather, which now we know in Rogue One.
I've lost it all, Jin.
In Rogue One, that fucking breather he's got is probably just pure gasoline he's inhaling.
I broke Kirk and he's gone.
I can't even picture like the actual scene now in Rogue One. Just I picture those eyes.
I've lost everything, Jin. I've lost my legs. I've lost my penis. What will you lose? Well, I hope not that. Fuck. He would be the guy that would just freely admit, like, Empire took my dick, but that's what I'm willing to give up
Yeah, he's nothing to hide.
for the greater good. I'm dickless.
Okay, come on. Someone pick up the torch here. Sally
They
Forth.
call them 2 tubes. I'm 0 tubes now. Sally Ford. I think that's. I have nothing else on the episode. I left Saw for the end. So if you got anything else to say, but I got all my notes are done.
Saw, Attendant Hirt, I think that's how you say his name. He was conversing with Lonnie, I think, who's like the undercover guy.
Right,
So they kind of got like somewhat singled out in the meeting, like in a good way. I don't know. He did something. Just basically said we have too many prisoners. We gotta just start executing them. I don't know. Again, another scene that I was a little bit confused on. I must have been dozing off or something. I don't know what happened here. But it just seemed like Hirt and Lonnie were like two peas for like a lot of this. Has this been a thing like for the last like they've just been kind of working together, or
I don't
have we
recall
seen
that.
any more about like that character, like not the undercover guy? Like it just seems like we're highlighting this character, and it just seems like something's gonna happen with him because he's close to Lonnie. Maybe he's gonna reveal, like, find out about Lonnie.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially
That
if
could
Lonnie
be it.
keeps meeting Luth. I don't know where they're meeting, but like they gotta stop having these meetings.
Well, even though Luthen's like, we got to have them more often because Lonnie says that. Like, I thought you said.
Right, it's like
the-
every 3 months.
Yeah,
Forgot
I
about
thought he's like, oh, I thought the less we meet, the better. And he's well, things have changed. So I don't remember that character, but obviously they throw a lot of characters in there, and I did not rewatch season 1, and there's even stuff in the recaps that like they didn't talk about, like Mon Mothma's cousin's relationship with that lady, right? Like there's some, so I don't have the recollection. If so, I don't think it's been anything as big, but I think you're right, that could play into. He trips up, he finds out about Lonnie, and that's how they find out about Luthen. That could be the kind of the key to taking Luthen down. So I think that will play into it. And yeah, I like their dynamic so far. Just kind of little shit stirs. So
Little shitsters, yeah. And then I did think we were gonna see the daughter here, which I was looking forward to because it's only been a year, so it's like maybe I wouldn't expect that much difference. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to see this lady now that's like super ingrained with the can't remember his name, but like the crime lords. Just I don't even know what her role is, like the daughter, like because her mom's like an elected official, right? Is that how they get those roles? She's a senator,
you're talking
or
about
is she
Mon Mothma?
appointed? Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a senator.
I think she was elected. Yeah, she won. So no, I don't think her daughter's anything of yet. I think the idea would be to groom them to be something more, especially with that other family. But I don't think.
Yeah.
I think right now it's just the stages of.
Because
Like,
it's not
oh,
like
this
a
is my
hierarchy.
daughter.
It's not like a monarch
No.
or anything like that, right? I guess just on the other side of the family, they're just gadillionaires, whatever the
Yeah.
number would be. Okay, yeah, I know. I was just curious what type of influence maybe they're gonna have now, especially that she was already showing to be kind of not aligned with Mon's ideals of just
Yes.
not being an evil dirtbag. But
That's the tough thing. I think we will see her again, but I could also just not really seeing her that much of like, oh, she lost her to the Empire side, right? Like that's
Yeah,
just a
true.
sacrifice of that it. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm iffy on that. We didn't see her, so I could see just one more appearance, and that's kind of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's the one that kills Luthen.
yeah. Jesus Christ.
But take a penis, just like sauce.
Yeah. She has a whole store collection. Yeah.
The collector, they call her.
Yeah.
No, I have nothing else. That's it. All dried up.
Do you
Like
feel?
Saw's undercarriage.
Yep.
I'm all dried up.
It's dry down there. It's so warm. Anyways, we'll end it there. We'll be back next week for episodes 7 to 9. We'll see if Saw gets to keep his penis. We'll see if Luthen gets to keep his life. See what Andor's pretend to be this time. And I promise you,